Listen, I don't know about you, but I started a business so I could do this. Travel, be with friends, be with family, create memories. I didn't do it to sit at the computer all day. I didn't do it so that I could just be in countless emails and Zoom meetings. I did it to create opportunities for myself and opportunities for others. So listen, if that's something that interests you, enjoying time with your friends, being out and about, definitely drop by Erica Williams' Classy Climb blog. Check out the YouTube channel. We've got over 2,000 videos of free information that's actually changed people's lives. People actually post their new jobs, their new careers, their new businesses all the time over at the channel.
What's up, everybody? This is your girl Erica from the Classic Clown blog. Totally inspired by the Houston's highest poverty of any U.S. city. I'm calling this video the City Wars of 2025 to 2030 because what you're going to have over the next couple of years, and I tell you this all the time, when economy is up or down, you know, good times, bad times, right? A few years ago, all people talked about was moving to where? Atlanta. All right, they're gonna move to Atlanta, they're gonna move to Texas. All right. If you meet a lot of people from up north, New York, PA, Philly, Boston, I'm gonna move to North Carolina or Atlanta. Right? They have three that they keep going. I'm gonna move to Chicago. I'm gonna right, like for a long time, Chicago got beaten down. Right. So then they kept telling they're gonna move to Colorado. They're gonna move somewhere, right? Where ain't no black people at, which is crazy. But you're going to see over the next couple of years what I call the city wars. And when I did the Boomtown list, many people are like, Erica, what do you mean? What is a city war? If you're in Atlanta right now, and this is just an example, Atlanta is breaking up into city hoods, okay, where they this city don't like what y'all about to vote in and do, so they vote to be their own city, right? You're going to see a lot of that across the South for the next 20 years. Because what people are going to do is they're going to keep moving southeast for cheap housing. Now, some of you can say, no, Erica, people can go to Cleveland, they can go to Ohio, they go, if they have family there, and if it's the cheapest option. When I moved to Texas, 2012, there were people at a job I was at that was like, I'm moving to Asheville, North Carolina on a farm in the middle of nowhere in the woods for $50,000. And I was like, have you been there before? Do you know where that's at? I'm talking about older white guy too. He was so excited. And what people are doing is the cities will change, right? You see Birmingham in here. People gonna talk to you about Huntsville, Alabama, aka Rocket City, what they want to call it now, right? People gonna talk to you about a lot of places because they're looking for land. And I've talked to y'all about this many times. Like the affordability of just buying a house and land changes the trajectory for people. I hate to go negative, but anytime you hear somebody that's divorced, what's the first thing they say? Well, we had a house and I lost half of everything and she got the house. Y'all didn't have nothing. What y'all had was the house. Because if you had half, you should be able to go back and go buy your what? Another house, right? So a lot of times people are living in these scenarios that the only way it makes sense is if they have what? Teamwork. Now, David Williams did a great job the other day talking about people being together and you can get a lot more accomplished. It's hard when you're one person to fight people. You need a whole team. Like even when I'm here, I'm telling everybody I know, hey, you got some land? You know anybody trying to sell vacant houses? You know any wholesalers? Tell them, give them my number. You know any realtors? Give them my number. Because you need to recruit massive amount of energy, force, and focus to whatever it is you're trying to do. All right. The more people, and you can go read Gary Keller's the book, The One Thing. The more people going towards the goal, the faster the company gets to the goal, right? Because now you know you got coworkers that ain't doing they share, but again, we've heard that a million times. Now here's the problem. And I wrote a lot of notes, so I'm gonna try to share this article with you real quick. This is a symptom of parole drift. And you can go look at the guy's channel I like sharing, Analyzing Finance with Nick. You know, he does a great job of breaking this down. But when you notice people are starting to move the goalposts, they got a loud car, they got a Hellcat, they got all these noisy cars, but they're in a low-paying job, right? Like if something goes wrong with the Hellcat, my mom's got a neighbor down the street, Hellcat sitting in the yard, grass growing around it. Why? Couldn't afford to fix it. So now he's got two little nice cheap SUVs, you know, that family friendly, because people are not being honest with themselves about how much these things cost. When you see pickup trucks that you know are not work trucks, it's someone trying to stun on you that they have the money to waste in a work truck. We already know these people don't have money to waste, okay? I don't know if y'all remember a few months ago, it was what, the white suburban mom or the black SUV mom, right? Are you a white SUV mom or a black SUV mom? And I was like, this is one of those middle class mommy wars that, it's a money thing, right? I don't know if anybody remember that. Let me know in the comments if you remember that. But let me go ahead and show you this on Houston. This article could be about Atlanta too, but we ain't gonna talk about Atlanta right today. We're gonna leave Atlanta alone a little bit today. Let me go here. Okay, here we go. Oh, boy, 4 or 5, that phone going right. Okay, here we go. Now I commented on this. There's somebody I know, and I've commented on them here, and I'm using her a little bit as an example, but not too much. But she moved from California to Las Vegas. Mom went with her from Las Vegas to here to Texas, and so she's a prime example of people who are moving for affordability. And there's no harm, no foul, no shade. Like, I've seen it play out a million times, but people can't pinpoint it because they won't be honest. Okay, so let me see. Is this big enough for y'all to see? No, let me make it bigger. Okay, sorry, it's half page, but this is from the Houston Chronicle Post. Houston now has the highest poverty rate among U.S. cities. Now, what they didn't tackle in that is that Houston has a huge number of what? Latinos. They have a huge illegal population of Koreans. Huge big numbers. One of the biggest cities full of Koreans that are here overstaying visas. And when ICE was getting ready to do their raids, the city council people, because they put money in the city council pockets, told them, hey, you ain't gonna come over here and harass these good businessmen, these Chinese businessmen, these Korean businessmen. And that's why I keep telling y'all, they telling you to your face who is valuable and not valuable in this country. And it ain't just race, it's class thing. Right? Them illegal Africans, if they got businesses, guess what? Obama didn't grab them last time, okay? They grabbing some Africans this time for sure. But if they own businesses, no. So anyway, so here's the top one. Someone said, everything's so expensive and jobs not paying. Now, y'all know my favorite troll is plumbers, HVAC, nurses, other skilled trades are making a killing in Houston. Immediately, there's no shade, just using her example. True, but you have to go to school for that. Not everybody's in a position to go to school or can finish school in time, so they won't be homeless. I go 6-month certification for a lot of trades. It's all choices. If you're working a job that barely pays the bills, you can be homeless in 3 months. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Not saying it's impossible, but depending on your circumstances, you can end up bad before it gets better. So, of course, y'all know my classic response: night school, online school, roommates. If you barely getting by, in 2 to 5 years, you will be homeless either way if you don't skill up and grow. I used to deliver pizzas and work in apartment complexes 6 days a week, made 100K plus that year. I didn't want to stunt and do the whole, I made 120, I just put 100K plus that year in Austin. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Now, you know what that black word means. You got to do what you got to do. What does that mean, y'all? We all know you got to do what you got to do. Is anybody here ever heard that? Okay. I just want you to understand that phrase is, you got to do what you got to do. Now, we all know what it means. And there's going to always be somebody who has some excuse. So, oh, you don't know. Again, and people making fun of stuff out here, right? They're literally saying there's almost an estimated 481,000 to 548,000 unauthorized immigrants reside in Houston. Y'all, you got 500,000 people. And again, they're using the words carefully, unauthorized there. 91,000 people moved to Houston last year due to jobs. Dallas, Houston, Austin is top 10 cities people are moving to. Bring in the Trump guards. Everybody's laughing. The clubs be packed every night. When the minimum wage is $7.25, there's going to be poverty. The average person in Texas, I got to be petty. Average place in Texas, even Houston, starting pay is $14 to $18 an hour. Only 3 million people in whole USA make minimum wage. Look at me not spelling nothing right. Hold on, y'all. Now, why did I put this in here? Why am I being petty? Honey, I just like putting my finger on the pulse of what's the crying they doing today on the internet. What are they crying about on the internet? Now, why am I doing this? Y'all will be like, Erica, ooh, you petty. I'm real petty. Let me go to where I was trying to show this thing. Do I have it? I do. Hold on. I'm getting there. Here we go. Talking about oil changes. I mean, if you're in here, have you got an oil change this year? Let me know. This is a prime example of what I want to talk to y'all about a little bit here. Let me share this tab. Now, before I go off on this, honey, I'm petty because what it is people are not being truthful with themselves. And Nick, the less truthful they are with themselves, they can't move forward. It's like creating your own moat, right? There's a lot of white ladies online going, "Oh, my son went to school for computer science, can't find a degree." And every time people ask, well, "What's his certifications? What's his specialty?" He just got a general computer science degree. Is this 1994? Is this 1992? Is this 2003? Again, the excuses will always be, you don't know my circumstance, you don't know my situation. Oh, it's different because I got kids. What you're saying is I want an excuse out of why. And I showed the unemployment charts the other day, and I also want to talk about what Diamond Dave said about excuse me, sorry about that. What Diamond Dave said about if people are single. I told people, if you're a single mom right now, you need a trade. You can't really make it in America making less than 75,000 a year. So if you tell me you're a single mom and you're making 40K a year, baby, I don't know. I'll literally be looking at these people dead and I'd be like, you might as well give them children to their daddy. And I've gotten cussed out many a time in the comments on multiple places. But this is really parole drift. This is where people are not actually, these are people coming in conflict with reality. Oh, I'm middle class. No, you're not. If you can be working somewhere and in 3 months you'll be homeless, honey, the math is already there for you to go homeless. If you get the flu, if you get really sick this fall, if you get in a car accident, your car's down, you can't get to work, you can't take the Ubers, you can't afford a rental, baby, you're gonna be homeless faster than you think. That's why I tell y'all, when y'all argue me about housing, these people living in these townhouses, like my mom's got a neighbor over here. He's from works in Raleigh, like an hour and 20 minutes away, but he's remote. And he rents every room in the house out. He's like, man, I saw this house was half the price of houses in Raleigh for the same size. Oh my God, I moved down here and he's got roommates in every room paying $700, $800. This man ain't paying no money for a mortgage. So his whole tech career, remote work job is doing what? Being stacked. Probably gonna buy another house, probably gonna move to another city. He can do this for a whole year, maybe 2-3 years. So far, he's done it for 2 years. I don't think people are ready for the combo. They're not ready. They're not ready for the combo. So let me go here. Let me go up. What's up, Atlanta? What's up, Brandy? One of the best accountants. Y'all better, if you need some taxes, get them done. East Houston, what's good? Birmingham, Alabama. Good afternoon. Okay, let me get down here. Thanks, Erica. We all barely holding out here. People are. And so there was the clip I was trying to get y'all to was where the guy was like, well, only people who've invested in stocks and real estate really had their life changed since 2019. And I'm like, yeah, that's how it's going to be. Okay. So let me write down over here. Again, I've always said on this channel, hey, get the best, highest paying job you can. But you have a lot of people who are getting married later. I even recommend people get married internationally. So David Williams showed a clip on his screen earlier yesterday of marriage rates that more black men are married than black women. Yes, just 200,000. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. 200,000 black men more are married than black women. Okay, that's it. That's the number, right? We may make, it's like 57%. It's like this huge number. No, it's like just 200,000. It's not a crazy number. It's not a weird number. That's pretty much the number. And I'm okay with any of those numbers, right? Because if you're married and your family's going to get your insurance when you die, if you got, I made a joke when I first moved to Texas, when I moved out to Georgetown for one of my jobs, when I first was out there, I was at the H-E-B grocery store. Black women had a Mexican husband covered in paint. White women had a Mexican husband covered in paint. The Mexican ladies had a Mexican husband covered in paint, walking alongside them at H-E-B and then getting to the register and paying. I said, well, damn, is this what it is out here? like everybody husband looking like this. I just did the basic math in my head. Like, okay, this is where you are. If you go further out in the suburbs, this is what it'll look like. If you want to go in the city and really compete, go ahead and take that job back in Austin. All right. People always coming up with excuses, just have no money then. You notice what I want to say in every post. So fine. Just be poor. I don't care. But what it is it's moving the goalposts. It's trying to, I'm a minimalist, Erica. No, you're a person who can only afford a couch and a bed in your apartment. Stop. Cut it out. Anybody can go to the thrift store and grab some art for $5. Everybody can go to Target, grab some wall art for $5-10 and throw up some art on the wall. Put a few plants in your house. Paint a wall or two. It's not that complicated. What you're telling me is all you can afford is I can just come home. I can sit on the couch, play my PS5, and eat a can of beans. That's what I can do. If you're a girl, what I love about women who are in their minimalistic, like I'm broke phase, they go plant crazy. I love looking at TikTok and I see a woman's place, ain't nothing but a couch in there, ton of plants. I'll be like, I feel you, sis. I know what's going on. I've been there. I feel it. Listen, I've been there. I feel you. The plants do make it look like we're very much living in there. The Target art on the wall very much makes it look like we live in there. And ain't nothing wrong with that, y'all. Apartment living starting out like that, being that level is nothing wrong. That's a good life. Okay. I see if I can find it. But there was a man who was making $180,000 a year. And he was a immigrant. And he's like, I'm leaving America because this HB1 visa, stuff has him stressed out. And I'm laughing. He's like, I haven't been able to relax in America. I said, you're making $180,000 a year in America and you haven't been able to relax. You're in the top 1% of incomes and you haven't been able to relax. What does that tell y'all? He said, Mr. Lee sending $50,000 a year home every year, right? He's sending a huge part of money home because if he was really in America living off 180 and stacking and invested and putting in a stock market account and doing all this stuff, just in case they send him out and he has to leave America, he'd be straight. I mean, again, you making 180 and you see how these people be living up in these towns, 4-5 people in an apartment. So he ain't really paying no rent. Okay. Paying a very small amount. Got a used little Kia Soul or a little car. They love Toyotas, old Toyotas. Okay. So you got a used car, you in an apartment sharing, and you making 180 a year. Let's just say you on HB1 visa for 3 years in a row. Maybe you Gucci. You're good. You can do just about anything with that amount of money. I mean, again, let me pull out a calculator because I don't want to do live math and then it'd be like, see, you was wrong. Times 3. You're telling me you're making $180,000 a year in America. In 3 years, you would have made $540,000, $500,000, and you haven't been able to breathe and relax in America. Go back to China then. Go back to China. Right. So when I see these arguments that we're going to have a brain drain. No, we're not. No, we're not. There's a ton of black and white boys who are all up in these schools. They may not be the best engineer, but they in there. My friend was a girl engineer. It was like 6 women in her graduating class. They out here. Y'all got to really knock it off. But so when people start saying these videos, I laugh because I be in the comments straight trolling like, you made $500,000 in 3 years and you can't make it in America. Well, go talk to people who make $40,000 a year in America. They seem to be making it. What's going on? Y'all really gotta y'all gotta check people with this stuff. That'd be crazy. Famous last words applying to Magic City. I can't. What's up, Wilson, North Carolina? Someone just moved to Houston. They having a hard time. I was like, why even leave? If you guys are enjoying commentary, probably one in the comments before we go to the next part. Let me see if I get to it. A lot of people want to sit there working class. Acceptance is the first step. Listen, I'm able, I'm not bragging. I'm just doing basic math. I'm able to chart out how much money will come from my rentals, how much money will come from my separate business ventures, how much money is coming from Amazon, for how many sales we did, right, with our product. I'm able to chart it out for the last 4 or 5 months of the year. We really got 4 months left. But I'm able to go, okay, this is the math. So if I want to do X amount of trips or less trips, this is your math. If you want to make double this money, what do you got to do? I was like this before this. When I had a job, I did the math. I broke out the piece of paper. I watched my mom and dad grow up, break out the pen and paper and do accounting on paper. So you can know your bills were paid. So you know the light bill been paid, this bill been paid. And people may laugh, but some of y'all need to go back to pen and paper because y'all have not mastered digital or just doing it in your mind. Since 2019, my life's changed. Yes. Living outside of his means or sending all his money with none set aside for his home security. That's what I'm saying. That it's just like you made $500,000 in America and you struggling. And this is the math. This is how people know they can come to America. Even if America put them out in 3 years, put them out in 5 years. Let's say that boy stays here for 6 years on these visas. Because every year you got to renew. He would have made $1 million on 6 years. Tell me where he was making that in China. He wasn't. Tell me where he was gonna make that if it was an Indian person in India. They not. Tell me where they making that in Malaysia and Bali and the UK. They're not. This is why America tracks that $62 billion a year leaves this country. Like when people say America should look better than it does, all this taxes y'all pay. Well, we got 62 billion of it going out of the country to go pay into y'all countries to hold your mama and daddy up where they live. To spread the money around, to spread the wealth around. So it can only look so great if we send in money out every day. And then on top of that, we sending money to Afghanistan, Iraq, all these places. Of course they look great. Of course Ukraine still looks great. Of course. We sending money. What are y'all talking about? Erica, one of my nephews, pipe fitter and welder for a major energy company, has a house and has much of nothing in it. No wife, no kids, plenty of money, but he's stingy. I'm saying I'm just frugal. So Nick, here's the thing. If he's busy, he ain't gonna be there often. But he still can have some plants and some art. If Uncle Nick don't go to the Target with his wife, because really just get your wife to go with you, Nick. Just she'll pick it for you. Just pick him 2 manly art pieces for the wall. It can be a lion. It can be a bull. It could be a bear. It can even be a Native American man. You can pick whatever you want, right? You pick 2 pieces and a plant, a big one that he has to water. And you and your wife go over there and you drop that stuff off. And just with those 2 items, just those 2, now your nephew got a whole new apartment, right? You might even get him a lamp while you're in there. Get him a nice lamp and be like, here you go. Happy new house. I'm just telling you. You ain't got to have much in there. But just the 2 plants will change the room, okay? 180 is like take-home pay of $12K a month. Alexander, exactly. Right? You're talking about people, and then you're talking about, let's be really honest, Asian, Indian community, African community. They're gonna split in. They're gonna be 3 or 4 people. Hope that ain't my property manager. Who is that? Oh, that's not him. Okay, 3, 4 people splitting that apartment rent. We had the apartment building I worked at was $1,200 for a 2-bedroom, and it really wasn't even a 2-bedroom. It was a 1-bedroom on one side, and then it was a office with no closet. So that's why you couldn't call it a bedroom. You had to call it the office. And then they had this little kind of open space that was your den. We would come in there and it'd be an Indian couple with their child in the office, an Indian couple and their child in the actual bedroom, 2 guys sleeping on the couch out in the outdoor. You're like, what the hell? Y'all trying to be into here? And they would get mad because we'd be like, listen, y'all need your own places. Legally, you can't have this many people in an apartment. And they would be mad. And eventually the Indian people took over all that La Frontera area. But what you realize is you got 4 men in a 2-bedroom with their families. They're throwing in on the groceries. They're throwing in on the rent. So when these people are making 180 in America, it's not just them taking a job from an American. And well, Erica, sometimes they pay them 120 instead of 180. Who cares? Were they gonna make 120 in their home country? No, because if they were, they would have stayed. That stuff y'all be telling me be so funny to me. Yes, this is true. This is true. I'm not gonna fight you on this. I lived in Austin, and many of white men are like, they get the cheap labor. You know, they've been making 150 their whole career, and then complaining. I hear you. If you move here with no skills, you get eat alive. My rent in Cleveland was $725. My rent here is $1625. Skills. You won't have fun without funds. I've told y'all this story multiple times, but I was in an apartment complex, and this family had came from California. The dude was like not a plumber, but he was something in construction. I can't remember the exact thing, but something in construction. And he was so excited. They had a 2-bedroom apartment. They had the kids, had their own room. They got their own room. He's like, this is the first time my wife hasn't had to work in 8 years. And I was just thinking, like, okay. Like in my head, as he's telling me this with such joy, I wasn't being disrespectful to the man, but I was sitting there like, okay, like, thanks for telling me. Like, we're having a conversation as apartment and managers, and we're like, oh, this is the first time since leaving California your wife can breathe because the bill is low enough for just you to work. So you're gonna always get those people in Houston, Dallas, Texas, Santa Marcos, and all these other places who are coming from a very expensive city, and they're like, oh, shit, we can take a break. We can breathe a little bit. And that's why I make that joke all the time with y'all that I know couples that work, both are working real hard for 2 years. They get in that house, all of a sudden she pregnant, she going home. Because they needed the paperwork to show that, look, we got 2 incomes. And y'all may think that don't mean anything, but I've literally gone to places, apply for stuff, and they go, oh, it's just you? This is years ago. But I remember tell me how many MFers come in here with this much income. And he's like, you right. They try to hear him, no disrespect, man. We just filling out the paperwork. And I want you to understand, there is a ceiling you will hit at these banquets, at these gatherings, at these events when you're not married. It's very true. When you talk about CPAC, these political things, there is a ceiling people will hit. And trust me, the more you rub elbows in some of them places, there's always somebody who is magically available in your city and state when it comes to politics. People ain't ready for that conversation though, so I'm gonna move out of there. But dog, you talking about that rent? I'm telling you, that's why some people stay. That's why some people would tell. I was talking to this girl, she was from Chicago, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I was getting ready to move to Hammond, Indiana, because you can get a whole house on Section 8 there instead of Chicago." So many generations of people are working the system that there's city wars. Like, hey, we have more Section 8 here. That's how Section 8 is gonna move a lot of y'all out of these cities. Oh, the vouchers were cut for this city on Section 8. But some little podunk town that needs a little bit of more kids in the school system to keep the system afloat and keep the city going. Oh, we're going to raise the limit of how many Section 8 we can take. I drove over to this one town that's like 2 towns over from here. And I saw Section 8 signs all over town with the phone number. I said, look at that. I said, this little town needs your money. They're trying to convince you, instead of moving where the military is and moving where more job are, stay on out here. Get that Section 8, girl. Yeah. And that's another one of these city wars. Tulsa, Oklahoma. They don't want to pay them people. And the more the court push for them to pay them people, and they're like, oh, they can't come back to court with this ever again. Right? Even though legally they're justified in having to pay them people, the descendants of those people where they robbed them for the Tulsa Tulsa riots, per se, how do you want question mark it? They start saying, no, we'll give $10,000 to new people who come to Tulsa and work remote. Some people we know on the channel even went and took that up on them. Congrats. Why wouldn't they give people who lived in Tulsa themselves that 10K? Why wouldn't they line up and say, we're going to find about 10,000 people in Tulsa and give them 10K? Because those cities know, if I bring you to Tulsa, I wash out the background noise of the people that are here that we rightfully owe them money. But 2, also bring what? More youth, more kids, more money to circulate around town. Because even if you have a tech job that's remote, you're going to do what? Eat in the town, shop in the town, get your oil change, you name it. Shoot, I have my money for next year all mapped out. John, let me tell you, I just sat home and was doing the budget with the boo. Like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're doing in March. This is what we're doing in April. Okay, we got to really line this up now so we can get all this done. Honey. You know, art on the wall. You do need art on the walls, man. Y'all can't listen. Homeless minimalism versus real minimalism. Y'all don't know what that means. Y'all messing up the art form. Yeah, listen, my nephew the other day bought a second vehicle. I told y'all about my nephew goes to the auctions, get them for 900, sell them for the. He did so many that he went to the car dealership and got him a car of his choice to go along with his truck. This kid's 18. That's why when a lot of y'all are giving me all this pushback, I giggle because I literally have young people, 18, 19, 20. A friend of the show, her daughter just went into the freaking Navy, is in cybersecurity, great credit score, getting certifications. Y'all don't understand. These young people is not playing with y'all. They getting into the bag. Now, are there some young people that are slow, can't read, goofing off? Yeah. But a lot of these younger people, they see where y'all messed up. They're getting that out of the way. Pipe fitter. They find singles as a threat. Well, it's diverted attention, right? There's a way in an order and a structure you get into some of these organizations that it's like, all wives on Thursday, meet up. Yeah. All husbands go do golf on Saturday. It is a thing. It is a thing. And so you're going into people's structures wanting to change it from the inside out. They don't want those type of people. They want everybody who's going to get with the program. MA in the house, better late than never. Hey, planning on leaving MA for neither Nebraska or Indiana. Whoo, God bless you. Now, if you're going to join the Air Force, they're going to send you to Nebraska anyway. And then you'll be small town going to the breweries. I want to be closer to the bases, give myself a year to get ready. Now, I'm going to tell you like this. They might send you to South Korea. We've got multiple friends that's been in South Korea on multiple destinations because that's just where they could send them. That or DC. Everybody think they're going to go to Nebraska, but no. They be sending you to DC. They're going to start sending you to Huntsville, Alabama. What's that base over there by them? I forgot the name of it, but it's over there by Huntsville. And then also they send you to South Korea and Japan. So good luck on that. More people in the area also increase the taxes they receive. Exactly. Right. So there's some of these towns, they're like, if we could just get 50 new houses. I think I showed you that video. They wanted 50 new houses in the town because they knew if they could just do the math, right? Just do the math on if they have 50 families and each family brings 2 kids, that's 100 kids. Let's say each family brings 4 kids. That's why they're picking through the application. That's what? 4 kids times 50 is what, you guys? That's 200 kids. That allows that city to kind of live on, right? They know X amount of tax dollars are coming to the school for the next, 5 to 10 years. It's very easy math for these towns to do. Boy, they wearing their phone now. Okay. I just turned 34 and seeing my friends get slammed with debt. I want to be better, especially since I'm former ward of the state. Hey, man. You do what you got to do. Now I'm gonna play this for y'all. This is just an example of inflation because some people are gonna say, well, Erica, what's wrong with people pointing out that all these people are potentially homeless in Houston? Nothing. I just want you to understand every city's got to have a low income base. You also forgot the New Orleans Katrina people still in Houston and still living in some of the raggediest sides of town. Why? Maybe they're comfortable there. I don't know. But here we go. Let me play this for y'all. Oh, I'm trying to find the audio button. Where's the button? What did I do? Oops, there it is. Oops. Hold on, y'all. There it is.
For our oil changes last year. These are the ones we were using, but as you can see, they're in the because the price went up again. They're $69.95 now. I couldn't tell you if inflation was real or happening right now or not, but it's been 1 year. Okay, so I'm filming this just 1 week after I filmed those last videos. They went up again to $79.99 or $120 for a full synthetic, which is actually competitive pricing for an oil change right now, which just doesn't make any sense because you can go buy 5 quarts of oil for like $30 at Amazon, but somehow the price of labor is what's bringing the price of the oil changes up. Meanwhile, the people doing the labor don't get any pay raise or anything, so I don't know. Honestly, I can't say about because I don't know nothing about politics, but this is pretty crazy. These are the signs we would use.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you kind of quickly what happened, even though you heard it here. He said it's going from 39 to 79 in just 1 year. Oh, it's inflation. No, it's a new location, and what they tried to do is get a lot of people in for a cheap price. And then when even though part of it is the tariffs, they knew that entry level price, you're hooked in now. You done been to them twice, or you're an older person, or you're a person who likes routine, and it's by your house. You're gonna keep going by there. You're going to keep going by there. I'm not even joking, y'all. The people that tore up my, they broke a screw when they changed my oil. I still go back there to the same place because I'd be like, well, y'all know y'all did that, right? Oh, yeah, ma'am. We so sorry. I end up paying 100, 120. And it's been that way for a long time. But what I want people to understand is if you're comfortable driving around the same place, most people aren't going to go, let me go find a new oil change place. That's crazy. Because by the time they got ready to, I need to change this oil today, right now, Saturday, I got 5 minutes to change it. They're going to stay in line and they're going to change their oil. That's what they're going to do. They're going to just eat the cost. So now, even though like, yeah, this is doubling. And this guy said, oh, it's inflation. No, actually, it's corporate racketeering. Because Vanguard and BlackRock are what? Raising these prices. Because what? They own a lot of these franchises. They own a lot of them. That's right. 5 Minute Oil Change gets my money. They get it. Okay. And part of the reason I would love to own one of these, I think the franchise I saw that was Grease Monkey, is because that is something people always need, and people want to go right by their house.
Dude, travel in the U.S. is dead, and it's
so this is funny. I don't know if y'all ever been to Hawaii. Hawaii is amazing, but Hawaii, just like Alaska, is one of those places you have to have a lot of money to, unless you're going to strategize and look at different times of year. And I'm gonna go to Marriott over here on Maui. I'm gonna go off in the corner over here. You're going to Hawaii and Alaska. And I'm gonna tell you like this: they tax the crap out of you. Why? Because they know this is like a once in a lifetime thing. One time ever, maybe. They may go to Hawaii for their honeymoon. They'll never be back, or they'll be back in 10 years. So they're trying to get the most money out of people as possible. All right. So let's just go there. All right. Let's just go there.
It's all because of corporate greed. On my honeymoon right now, my last leg, I'm in Honolulu, and I just stayed at a resort, and I saw a $500 bill being tagged onto my bill at checkout, and it says there's a daily resort fee of $52 plus tax per room per day. The following amenities are included: fresh flower or cocoa nut lay breeding upon arrival for 2 guests per stay. Okay, which we didn't ask for because the flower was itching my neck, but that was the one thing that we got. Daily morning yoga for 2 guests, bag of freshly baked shitty banana bread muffins, daily cultural activities, daily high-speed internet access. All of these like chairs up front, we thought they were all occupied, but no. There's a $200 fee to reserve one of those chairs in the sun. Why would I pay $200 as a guest on top of what I'm already paying, on top of this resort fee that's charging me for things that I don't want? But is that how you're going to treat your guests? Give them a shittier beach chair because you have other beach chairs up front that you're going to charge $200 for? And not even on the actual beach. Dude, travel in the U.S.
Now what is happening? She complaining she on her honeymoon. I wouldn't even care. I wouldn't even care, man. Never. Let me stop. Let me be quiet. I was going to say something. I'm not going to say that. I just want y'all to understand, these people are not doing the math. You are not wealthy. You just paid for a big old wedding. Now you paying in Hawaii. Again, Hawaii and Alaska are two of the most expensive places. Most people in Alaska make their money via tourism or they work at the airport. Alaska airport is the number one, or the is it import, export? Import. Basically, we get a ton of imports coming to Alaska. And then they fly from everywhere else. So 1 in 48 people in Alaska know how to fly a plane, and 1 in 49 people know how to fix a plane. Okay. And the problem with her is she's just not being realistic of how much does this cost? How much does it cost to stay here? How much costs to visit here? How much the food costs? Me and my boo go to Hawaii multiple times over the past couple of years. Y'all done seen me on this channel. We go to Hawaii often. And there's certain places we go, a little hole in the walls, and you'll get plenty of food for the cheap, right? Because those places still exist, but you have to go look for them. People be lazy. But I'm going to keep going. Let me go to the next.
Forces that now control the Democratic Party ever since 2010, when the Citizens United case unleashed the tsunami of corporate money into the political process. Both political parties have become essentially wholly owned subsidiaries of BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, the pharmaceutical industry, the military contractors, etc. And all of this chaos right now is distracting us from the thing that we really ought to be talking about, Chris, which is the affordability of, the fact that we're losing the American middle class, and mortgages have doubled in price over the past 4 years.
Y'all, let me tell you something. Don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. Your voice will sound like that. See, okay, and now you're gone out of here. You're done. I banned you. Block ministry. So here's the thing. I get it. You guys are like, people selling courses. People selling community and courses and classes and you gotta stop scaring people into buying stuff. Nobody's scaring y'all. Ain't nothing scarier than real life. Ain't nothing scarier than real life. Man, you ain't gotta buy shit from me. I just want y'all to understand. Block, don't block, don't block. You know why? Because we have those people. That is the exact person out here. If you ask them how much you got in your savings right now, how much you got in your 401k, how much you invested in stocks off on a whole nother app that ain't tied to your workplace 401k. Is your car paid off? How's this going? Do you have a house? Have you applied for a pre-mortgage? Are you getting ready to get into a rental? Are you going to invest in other stuff? This is why. No, you're fine, baby. Don't worry about it. I see you. I can see him. Okay. Y'all worried about everything else. Y'all worried about everything else, men, women, back and forth, goofy stuff, and not the big elephant in the wall in the room in front of y'all. I don't think y'all understand what's happening out here. I don't have to sell a thing, because if you actually go look up my companies and you do a public search, you can see more than one LLC and you can see what they do. And later this winter, we're going to do a whole little documentary so you can see there's ways to make money outside of this social media. Y'all really believe, because people come on here and I'll be wanting to laugh. I'll be like, come on here talking the shit with y'all really, but you come on here, it's a slow, some people that are invested with me right now and doing private work projects, they ain't on my live. They don't comment. They don't say anything. Hey, I've been watching you for 3 years. Hey, I want to partner with you with this. And we go and partner and go about our day. I go into these events and these conferences. Why do I go to them? Because one of the masterminds I just joined, everybody in there is trying to do what? Still work in tech, but invest in business and real estate. So guess what? You're the one doing projects, they're investing with you. But the problem is, if you think everything is here to scare you, you're already behind, my brother. I guess I got to talk like a hotel. Wake up your mind, my brother. Are you clocking what I'm saying, my brother? like, I feel like that's what I have to do sometimes for people like, yeah, she's keeping it real. Happy grand rising to you, brothers and sisters. Like, get out of here. All this to say, an $80 oil change won't ruin you. But the same people that are in charge of buying up all these businesses to fill their portfolio books are also the people. The average car used to be $39,000. You could buy a car if you made $39,000 a year in 2020. Tell me what it looked like now. Today, $60K. Right? If you made $39K, you get a car. Man, the average car was $34,000. How do I know? I was looking for a 4Runner in 2020 during the pandemic because I was going to go on a road trip. And I said, I want to actually buy one of these instead of a Jeep. They went from $34,000 to $60,000. I was like, and you're not doing it. Nope. No, thank you. I'm going to spend $60. I'm going to go try to get a Porsche or something, a used one. So if your income hasn't risen by 60% every 5 years, you're behind. Y'all really not ready for that. That's why the Black community is the most. They are screaming. Come on now. The Black community is the number one community in America right now, screaming. In the way that they are screaming, in a way we would call it low income screaming. Oh, the income, the school supplies. These are the number one people talking about the village. Where the village at? Where the village at? Where the village at? Y'all won't even pay $10 for an extra school pencil. Y'all won't even put $20 in school supplies in the box and go, they better not be letting my kid pencils be used by other people. There is no village for you. Your village is you and your husband. Well, my baby daddy ain't shit. Okay, well, that's fine. Ma'am, I'm gonna advise you like I advise everybody else. If you are a single person in America or have a child by yourself, you need to be making $75,000 or more a year. I don't care if you live in Ohio. I don't care if you live in Georgia. I don't care if you live in Nebraska. I don't care if you live in Idaho. Okay? You need to be at 75. Anything less, what house are you buying? What retirement are you going to have? What car are you going to have? What if a healthcare emergency happened? You have no reserves. You have to be hyper disciplined for 5 to 10 years if you're a person making under 50K a year. And there's nothing wrong with that. But everybody ain't living like that. That's why when people say you're scaring people, the truth is scary. The numbers out here is scary. Oof. Boy. We losing them. Cars aren't transportation. Homes aren't investments. Vacations aren't freedom. They're debt traps. Loan, mortgages, credit cards, repairs, depreciation. The middle class finances all this stuff. The rich buy assets and let the assets pay for the car, homes, and more. Now, whenever I talking to y'all about this, I know people start zoning out. Oh, Erica, what are you talking about this? But who, again, every time they're on TV, they go the low asset individuals. Have you not heard them keep using the word low asset? That's their new code word for you poor. They can't say poor and they can't say working class because people don't think they're either of those things. They think they're somebody else, I guess. So they use the word low assets. Low assets. Do you understand what they're basically saying? We know you're broke. We know you ain't got no money. We know you got the money. But what would a person do if they were low asset? Even if I tell people, hey, you don't want to start a business, you don't do any of these things, every week, can you put $25 to $50 away a week into stock market or different stocks or in NVIDIA or Meta? Somebody look at you crazy. But that's really their only choice. The military even converted their retirement plan to a TSP. I'm going to match you what you put in there. The military playing chicken with you. What you going to put in there, I'm going to put in there. You ain't going to put no money in there, I ain't putting no money in there. That's crazy because they know a lot of these people ain't putting nothing in there. So they ain't losing anything now, right? They're not having to take care of your grandpa and your uncles and people who do all them years in the military. If you don't put nothing in, I don't put nothing in. That's crazy. But that's what these companies are doing. Hey, you want your 401k matched? What you put in there, I'll match it. Y'all, they are literally laughing in your face. Yeah, we got a match program, 2%. They know you ain't even gonna put 1% in there, so they ain't losing no money. It's just like, what are you talking about? Okay, let me get out of here. Let me go to the next. First thing people gonna tell you, I don't have time. I could be homeless in 3 months if I take off for school. Okay, let me just be very clear. If you're just getting by now, in 3-4 years, it's coming. Like, it's basic math. It's coming. You're gonna have something's gonna happen. A car accident, a setback, something. And so you're not prepared. If I ask you where you want to be in 5 years, you don't know. You already there. Okay. Second part of this. Okay. You can replace your income in 1 to 2 years. But guess what? The only way you're going to do that is what? Either a job, a new job, right? Or new investments, right? Why did I talk about the land grab course? Why did I talk about land investments and land flipping so much? Because there's so much people who are going to let go of some land they got from their uncle, their daddy, their mama, their whoever. I got a silly family member let go some land their family just gave it to them. They let it go. They sold it in like 3 weeks later. I said, man, the wholesalers love seeing you coming. One thing, exactly. New Mexico has state-sponsored daycare. Why? Because New Mexico is cheap to live in, but ain't much going on out there. Ain't much going on out there. All right. So my biggest thing to you is if you are struggling now, if it's tough now, if you can't afford a house now, what happens in 5 years? Right? This is where people start trying to rewrite the script. Well, Erica, I love living in an apartment. I don't want the responsibility of a house. Do we know what that is? That's called coping. Oh, Erica, I got the energy to do this and do that. Listen, I make fun of here and there of Tone Toxic and Vet Carnell, but he's right. If you're door dashing, you don't have the answer. It can be temporary. It can be 6 months. It can be a year. But what's the next thing? There's a boy who was on the Black Manosphere. He was Ubering and DoorDashing in Florida. Then he moved to Washington State, was Ubering and DoorDashing over there. Then came back to Atlanta and is Ubering and DoorDashing there. Somebody finally said to him in the comments, bro, you've been doing Uber and DoorDashing for 5 years. 5 years. That's what you do. You're a driver. Why don't you go get a CDL? I don't know if it was Nick. Somebody was making fun of him talking about get a CDL. It might have been Nick. You should go get a CDL. You should go do this. He was offended. Brother, you don't move to 3 different states doing Uber and DoorDash. What is the actual skill that you have that will translate to a regular job? This is supposed to be a temporary thing. They try to say, oh, I have work freedom with gig work, Erica. Okay. Exactly. Start a career service, anything. But that's what I'm telling you. That time is running out. These people over here, you know, that are complaining, people selling courses. It's somebody who's like, man, I want to improve myself, but I don't like selling. I don't know what the word is they're using in their brain to talk about sales. They probably talk about like rich people are bad people. Sales people are bad people. Having a business is people broke. They doing all this coping. They're doing all this coping. Instead of just saying, you know what, man, I might need to do A, B, and C. All right. I might need to do A, B, and C. I might need to change my life. I'm sitting here talking about digital assets. I'm talking about service businesses. And I'm telling y'all, like, these kids are leaving college. Here's the other one I want to show y'all. This was the guy. Oh, wait. Do I have Jared up? Let me see if I pull Jared up. I thought I pulled him up. Hold on. Dang, man. Okay. Let me go here. This is Jared. It's a page I follow. And I want y'all to understand what everybody in his group is gonna do. Yeah, here it is. Now he's in Texas real estate, which I always laugh because real estate is code. If you're a white person, real estate is code for I don't work really. I kind of work, but I don't. Or I got a rental or two. like white boys saying they're in real estate is different than black people saying they're in real estate. And I really wish y'all knew that. I really wish y'all knew that code word more than anything else. Here we go. Let me go up here. What's up? There's 200 people in the chat. You guys hit the one in the comments if you're enjoying the commentary. If not, that's okay with me. Because, baby, like the teachers should say, I got my education. I got my certifications. I got my certificates. I got my other company running up good right now. Y'all can do what you want to do with your time. I'm just letting you know what's about to come down the pipeline. Okay? Let's go here. This is Jared. He is a Texas real estate. Okay, now let me just try not to laugh. I keep telling y'all, this is a cheat code. And I don't think y'all understand how Instagram works. You start putting up houses on your Instagram. Even if the person goes here and they go, oh, I want to live here. This boy lives in Austin. Some of these houses he's showing you are in other parts of Texas. He's not going to be your agent. What's going to happen is he's going to refer you to one of his friends. He's going to refer you to one of his friends and he's going to get 20% commission. This is the game of real estate in Texas. Right? The biggest thing was people saying, oh, I'm from California too. So you follow them, you see them on Instagram, you connect with them. They go, oh, I have a perfect guy to help you walk through the transaction. It's a whole, if I could break this down to y'all in a day, I would, but it's a whole, they teach this technique at real estate schools. Depending on which real estate people you sign up with, they'll teach you. This is a whole technique. They know people are looking in other states trying to get free. Oh, Lord, if I could just leave New York, if I could leave Ohio, if I could leave California, if I can leave Seattle, they know they're watching. So they set this up to draw you in. You in the DMs with the automatic AI mini chat, talking to them, and they're gonna be good. So let me just go ahead and go through here. Yes, he's a real estate agent. Yes, he bought a rental in one of the new construction homes. I've talked to y'all about this many times, but let's go with this one. This is the first one. I want y'all to understand. This is $25,000 per semester, and on average in MBA school, you do 2 years. So you do the math. Let's go there. Oh, let me make sure the audio is on. Here you go.
$598 for the fall semester of business school at UT Austin. So come with me to class for a week and tell me if you think it's worth it. So I'm only in class Tuesday and Thursday and work the rest of the week. And on Tuesday, we get to campus around 10:30 and grab some breakfast tacos and coffee from the shop downstairs. Then it's off to our private equity class from 11 to 12:30 to learn how to buy and roll up businesses. Then we're off to a personal finance class from 12:30 to 2, where we learn how to do things like a backdoor Roth or minimize our tax bill. From 2 to 3:30, we're in Innovative Frontiers, where we listen to guest speakers talk about technology innovations in their field. Then from 3:30 to 6:30, we have our weekly real estate investment trust fund management class, where we're given $1.5 million of the university's money to invest in private real estate opportunities around the country. On Wednesday, we head to a lunch chat with some investors that want to invest in students that want to buy small businesses. And then on Thursday, we're just repeating our day on Tuesday, except we're out at 3:30 because we don't have our real estate class. And then we have our weekly bar tab at 9 p.m. that we call Think and Drink. And on Friday, we have a party boat so that we can meet the incoming class. Then on Saturday, we hit the homecoming tailgate to watch UT blow out Sam Houston, and that's the week. So what do you think? Is it worth $25K a semester? I just paid $23,598 for the fall semester of business school at UT.
Hold on. Let me slide it by. Again, this is $50K a year is what he's paying. So he's 2 years. It's going to be $100K.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
I just spent the first few years of my 20s working for Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, and this is one of the most important lessons I learned observing the richest people in the world. So on episode 2 of 20 Lessons in My 20s, this is the income ladder. So there's levels to the income game, and we all start out with W-2. That's wage income, and it's where you trade your time for money and get the lowest tax protection. And it's hard to scale because simply working harder doesn't increase your income. It's dependent on someone else raising it for you by giving you a higher paying job or a raise. And slightly above that is 1099 self-employment income. It's also pretty common, and it's where most of us move after W-2. It gives you a decent amount of tax flexibility because you can start writing off your expenses, and usually means you can increase how much you make simply by charging more or taking on more business. Next is K1 income. This is pass-through income from ownership in a business, fund, or syndication, and it's how most billionaires and multimillionaires I worked with got paid. K1 is just the tax form you get to report the income that you make from investing your time or capital in a partnership, which means it's infinitely scalable because the output is based on other people's labor, and it's taxed at the ordinary income rate but doesn't include payroll tax. This is also how most private equity principals and real estate investors are paid, but you can get this passively just by being an investor in a non-liquid fund, or if you own your own business and you pay yourself through a distribution instead of a wage. Most millionaires I worked for only had about 20% of their income coming from W-2 income from their main job, and the rest of their income coming from business interest in multiple companies that didn't require their own time. So my goal for the year is to put my money to work for me by finding more private funds and businesses to invest in. But what do you think? Is K1 income the move? I just spent the first few years.
Okay. And I think I can show you this one. This one might be better. Here you go. This one might be.
My goal this year is to buy my first rental and achieve my dream of becoming a greedy capitalist landlord. So here's everything that I'm looking for. Number one is interest rate incentives. Most builders I've seen are offering interest rates between 2.99% and 4.99%. So I'm definitely not paying anything over 5. Number two is a builder willing to pay my closing costs, so I only have to come out of pocket my down payment. Most builders I've seen are offering around 10K in closing cost coverage, so that should work for me. Number three is a low property tax area. Where I live in Texas, property taxes are 3.2%, which would run me over $1,000 a month just in taxes alone. So I'm not paying anything over 2.5%. Number four is A-rated schools and no flood zone. My rental thesis is that rental families who want their kids in good schools are the highest quality renters, and no flood zones means my insurance will be under $200 a month. Finally, monthly rent as close to 1% of the purchase price as possible. In Texas, this is really hard to find, but I just found this home that I negotiated down $35,000 to $225K, and it rents out for $2,100 a month, but the builder is paying me 2 months of rent, throwing in all the appliances, paying my closing costs, and I got a 3.99% interest rate, so I think I can make that work. But what do you think? Is this a good deal?
All right. Let me tell you. Let me tell you what just happened. When he just broke down to y'all in these 3 videos, and y'all may have missed it. This is why I tell people, if you really want to present yourself in a certain way, this is great. I'm gonna tell you what happened when he got to business school. Them other guys, because in order to get to Texas MBA school, you have to work 3 years professionally. He worked at basically private equity for the past 3 years. So he has made significant income, right? So you in Texas, there's a lot of builders who can offer a 3.99% interest rate or 2.99% interest rate. It's very common right now for the first 3 years of the loan. After that, you can refinance, things may be different. It don't matter. So he negotiated that house down 35%, $35,000 to get it to $225,000. On top of the builder is paying the closing costs. He's only coming out of pocket for the down payment. And that's not a traditional loan. So it's going to be closer to 3 or 5%, not 10%, which you're all thinking, oh, he got to put 20% down. That's incorrect. There are 5,000 different mortgage programs out there. Okay. So what happened is he probably went to business school and they say, you don't have a rental? They're looking at him crazy. Like, you just spent 3 years working with 3 years consistent taxes. You can be approved to buy what? A home. The reason people complain about taxes in Texas so much is because they don't do homes. They don't do homestead exemption. 9 times out of 10 is because these people live in other states. They came to Texas. They're not sure they're going to stay in Texas. And so they're always complaining about the taxes when the simple fix is homestead. But you see, he wants to make it a rental. And that's the difference. Okay. So long and story short, why is this a good technique? I worked at an apartment complex that was in one of the richest sides of Austin, Texas, had one of the best schools kids could go to. We had some of the most expensive apartments that were from 1990s. And I'm like, why are they charging so much? It was a school district. We had people who were literally at the apartments for 5 years. And you would be like, why don't you buy a home down the street? Well, we can't afford to stay in this district. We can't afford a home in this area. So, but they could afford for the mom to stay in the apartment and the dad to go to work at IT in Austin
and their children be in the best schools. This is a game people are playing, y'all. These builder communities where they only people can go to that school is the kids in that school zone, that building where the houses are, that community. That's a whole play. So this guy in 3 videos gave you the whole Texas Austin breakdown. You meet a ton of people in Austin who have a rental somewhere else, who work part-time in tech, who float in and out of these SDR roles, who do a lot of stuff. Okay. So I just want you to understand it's a lot of referral business. And you have to know, do I want to pay $25,000 this year to be at University of Texas MBA? Why are they there? I told y'all this. I have season tickets to the girls softball and the girls basketball. I go and there's nothing but business owners there on a Thursday talking to me like, oh yeah, where your company at? What are you doing? Hey, we should go to lunch. We should go do golf. I'm talking about 60-year-old Latino ladies, 50-year-old people, 40-year-old. It don't matter. They be like, what you doing? What your company doing? I know a guy that could help you. And we're supposed to be there watching the basketball game of the girls, supporting the girls. Yeah, go girls. It's nothing but networking. So when you see people at a certain level and they're at these Super Bowl games, when you go to Super Bowl, only person at the Super Bowl is business owners and people with money. Because the average Super Bowl ticket is $8,000 to $22,000. Unless somebody's just like, we gonna swipe the card and care about it later. The average person you meet at the Super Bowl are business owners. I know a mortgage broker who took his whole staff, all 9 people on staff, to the Super Bowl because they had such a great year. You do the math on 9 tickets at the Super Bowl. You do the math. So it's a game to be played. If you can play the paperwork game, if you can show that you got 2-3 years of income, you can play this rental game. You can buy these new construction homes and be in there. But the only issue is you're at the mercy of these lenders, So I just want y'all to understand, like, I'm showing the stuff to you. And this is funny. Harriet Tubman, the Economic Underground Railroad. Again, and the problem is, it's not that Black people are just crying and complaining. Some people just don't know. They don't know that they're going to pay the closing costs. They don't know they can get in that home for 1% down. They don't know that, you got a 620, good enough. Get you in the door. They just don't know. And I ain't beating you up for not knowing, but to continue to not know and continue to make an excuse for why you're not doing better, that's crazy. That's crazy. It's too much out here. And I was telling this guy was like, well, you should, why wouldn't you take that job? And I said, dude, this guy offered me a job to help me get into Dale. And I was like, dude, I made $40K a month. You tell me this job only pay $45K a year, man, kick rock. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when they showed me the social coordinator job, it was like $75K a year. You can stay there a year or two and slide to something else. That's good money for the average person. So when people try to sit here and tell you, oh, well, I'm not gonna repeat that. I'm gonna leave it at alone. I'm gonna leave that alone. Let me get out of there. Let me leave that alone. I just want you to understand is you're gonna have to make a decision coming up. And a lot of people are gonna have to either get committed or get left behind and shut up about it. Shut up. We don't care. These are choices. Y'all are all making choices out here daily. Daily making choices. Let me see if I can find this other one I was gonna show you, but you can go look at his page. He's showing a bunch of people's stuff. Let me see. Nah. Let me see. No, I don't see it. I thought I had it, but I don't. I can't remember which one it was. But him and Mr. Pretentious. I'm gonna just tell you, Mr. Pretentious and several of the people I show y'all on here, they're from Dallas. Their parents are from Dallas. They're going to, the reason I even showed y'all him is, do y'all not think everybody that's in his doctorate, his MBA program, they're just going to go and be like private equity. That's all they're going to do. They're going to go and be like private equity. They're going to make investments. They're not going to go into regular work. Now, they may get a job. They may get with some of these companies for a year or two, but they're doing the Ben Kelly. They're going to buy a couple of companies. They know you need to work. You need the job. You need the $45K a year. You got to work. You got to keep this job. So when they buy these businesses, they'll just keep you on. And you'll just keep on working and complaining about the price of things. So let me go ahead in here real quick and read some of y'all comments, because I do respect y'all being with the channel for years. I understand y'all investing in watching this stuff. There's a reason I created the Block Ministry many years ago, because what you understand is some people are demo people. So they just come into this space to complain and try to demo what you're building, because they already know they cook. They know they cooked. They know they cook. Do y'all understand what I'm telling you? How you'll tell your parents, you'll tell older people about some ideal you have. And they're like, oh, I wouldn't want to do that. What they're telling you is, I'm cooked. I'm done. I'm done. That new ideal you have, that's great, but I'm cooked. That's what they're telling you. His voice is painful to listen to. Listen, every time Robert Kennedy talks, I'm like, just take the surgery. There are surgeries they have. He don't want it, and I understand. But also, it's two things that are happening. If you hear him when he's young, his voice is still as bad, but not as bad. Two things are happening. When you do drugs, it's bad for your body. That's why he sound the way he sound. I'm gonna just put it to you this way. Secondly, when you do human growth hormone, or if you're a man and you do testosterone, whatever was going on with your voice before, it's gonna be worse. If you're a woman and you try to go do some of this testosterone on the sneak, you're gonna get a deep voice. One time my thyroid was messed up for a month, and I don't know if y'all remember the videos. My voice was, I was like, oh, who's that talking? That's me. Oh, I got to go to the doctor. They told me, oh, it's your thyroid. You had an infection. I'm like, oh, thank you, God. Thank y'all for helping me. One of y'all on the channel even said, Erica, can you see the node in your neck? And I said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And I actually went to the doctor. My voice was weird. It was real weird. I was like, hey, can y'all help? But people don't understand, like, drugs does that. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to get out of there. Thank you for blocking. He's just being a nuisance. Yeah, they are. Lots of training. With the Fed cut rates, it's going up. It's going up. Is there a stock? Is there a stock, men's or women's trading publicly? If not, why are there 186 YouTube platforms of men's versus women's all day? You would think they are paying people to sow division at the rate that they're doing it. I'm telling y'all, I went to CPAC. I went to all these things. All these Charlie Kirks. Charlie Kirk don't have a nonprofit that makes $70 million. That's not what he was paid. They paid over 300 YouTubers and bloggers to put out content. Oh, Erica, you don't know that. That's hearsay. Baby, I was in the meeting. I posted the picture of me and Officer Tatum up there just to show y'all. Like I really was recruited to run for office in Texas. Like I don't think y'all understand the levels to this stuff out here. You know what I'm saying? Some of these people are on YouTube and this is the best money they've ever made in their life. I saw this guy's, I had to help him with something, his taxes. I was referring him to somebody and he was making somewhere around $4,000 a month in AdSense. And his topics are what you think they are. You know, he called me and we talked about it, but I don't care about that. I was all about, okay, you paid me to do this service. I'll do the service to help you get what you need. But he was making $4,000 a month off Google AdSense, hitting that account every 22nd of the month. Tell me where he gonna get $48,000 for being silly, right? Now he just needs to what? Management. There's a father who's on TV basically crying, saying, please help. They took his twin sons. He was making so much money off social media from posting the twin boys. He made like $108,000 one year. He bought a house, he bought 2 cars, and the judge was like, okay, show me what the money you make outside of the children. Take all the videos down. Where the money you make? He didn't make none. He's like, oh, I'm partially disabled. Sir, let me tell you something. These judges are looking for a reason. You're essentially making money off the children living with you. Like, yes, the woman gave up the babies when they were babies. I guess she was having postpartum. And he was making this money. And she said, look, just break me off some of this money you're making off the boys. He's like, I'm breaking off no money to you. And she took him to court and the judge was like, and now I take the kids from you completely. I don't think y'all understand. If you're an Instagrammer, YouTuber, whatever, you're making a business and it's not a real business, you haven't figured out that you need to take this money and invest it in something. You need to take this money and have a service business you buy, or there's a company I tried to buy for $1.2 million. You ain't putting that much money down. You're getting an SBA loan for 90% of it, and you may come with the 10%. And that company's going to kick you off 15 to 20 grand a month. After all staff's paid, everything's done, your boss hog's working, everybody's working, and you just, they're cutting you some money. Okay. That's what these people that you just watched on the Instagram I just showed you, they're going to go and buy 2 or 3 companies, have 40, 50K coming in a month, make other investments. Like I have friends who own multiple group homes. They own about 8 or 9 of them at this point. I think they own closer to 10. But as far as houses they own in the situation, not as many. It just stacks. If you got your mind on you, it just stacks. There's a boy who's 24 right now. He made a bunch of money on a fluke off NVIDIA. And he's like, I made all this millions of dollars I don't know what next to do. I've traveled. I bought the cars. I bought my parents a house. What else do I do? He's talking to social media at 24 years old. What do I do? Boy, if you don't go get in room with conferences and elders who can guide you, don't tell the internet you made all this money and they don't know, you don't know what to do with yourself, because somebody will find you. You know, sometimes the village is quit. The village ain't got time for your foolishness. There you go. Bad credit to bad everything. Anything less would be uncivilized. Numbers don't lie. A lot of people aren't making 100K. They aren't. And when you ask people why they ain't making that, oh, well, I'm a school teacher, I'm a nurse, I'm a this, but they never explain to you why they haven't found a way to get the extra 20 and 30K a year. Because most people don't want to work that hard, and that's fine. Acknowledge that position and stay there and be quiet about it. Like, that's really what it is. People want you, hey, times are hard. Hotep's in the building. Erica just trying to get everyone a bag, respect, and love, queen. Hotep. Asset challenge. Yeah, they come up with new words. Low assets. Asset challenge. Majority of Americans at one point were asset challenged. It wasn't until Robinhood started, kind of getting, hey, you should get Robinhood. You should get Robinhood. People didn't even know about these stocks. They were studying the Googles and the gossip channels and the reality TV. Erica paying $2K a month in daycare is no joke. Let me tell you something, Mr. Andrews. Every day I think about buying somebody daycare. Every day. I'll be like, that's a good little money maker. You start saying, we're a Montessori school. Look at these random wooden toys we have. We have a strawberry garden in the back for the children to look at the strawberries. It's an easy racket. You get you about 50 kids, maybe that's an easy racket. Easy money. Easy money. And then you get the deal with a farmer for them to cut up some fruits and vegetables for you. Easy money. You get them to cut up a whole turkey, make your turkey shredded turkey meat. Easy money. I keep telling y'all, Dr. Umar would open a daycare, baby. They'd have gave that man 10 million more. Man, they tripping. Oh, for sure. The amount of people I know who are nowhere near matching their TSP and be loud and proud about it. Honey, the military is really calling y'all bluff right now. We'll match whatever you put in there. They know brother ain't gonna put $200, $400, $500 a month in there. Let's say for real. I'm being for real. There's a guy I want to bring him on the channel. I don't know if we'll ever get our interview in, but he is a multimillionaire and he was from the poorest part of North Carolina. He was getting ready to get kicked out of the military. And this guy set him aside and said, what do you want to do? He started showing him how he needs to invest his money in the stock market via, and set money aside in his TSP. Once he showed him that man became a multimillionaire. He owns multiple franchises. Gym franchises. Like, if I showed y'all how easy some of this stuff is, you'd be shocked. Walmart in Texas, if you have your drone certification, you can make 80K. Yeah. Right now, there's a website called Droneo. Do I have it open still? I had it open earlier, where essentially you can sign up there to get into a gig. People are on their apartment complexes. People showing houses. All they're doing is basically going on there, posting jobs and signing you up. That's what they're doing. So I know everybody ain't ready. Let me see. Do I have it here? Oh no. I hate that for y'all. I really, really do. When I find something real good, I'll be like, I'm gonna show the peoples. Okay, anyway, but I'm not gonna show the peoples. Okay, let me keep it moving. What else y'all got in here real quick? I was talking to these two white guys at a bar. When I was asking about their occupations, I told them I was HR, and then they told me they're commercial real estate. Commercial real estate, another code for I might do a deal twice a year. The rest of the time, I'm looking to buy somebody else's commercial building. I wish y'all understood that. The fees, 9 times out of 10, the fees are meant in a lot of these companies to keep out the riffraff, to keep out all this excess number of people, right? And the problem with that is many of y'all be like, that's not fair, Erica. What did she text me? Okay, yeah. But that's the game. Can you afford to not have a deal for 90 days and your rent be paid and your car bill be paid and you be good to go? A lot of y'all don't have that conversation. A lot of y'all don't want to have that conversation. Facts happened to me. Got referred to another realtor. Candy B. It's the part of the game, man. Aren't high interest rates causing an affordability crisis? Feds have to continue to drop them. Not necessarily. People who make over 75,000 a year and have a house, they're going on about their business. The data shows they out here spending, they having a good life. Anybody making less than 75,000, which is a huge part of our society, they are struggling. They just are. And if you tell somebody who's been making 60K for 10 years, and now the last 2 years have been hard, hey, you know, what have you been doing the past 10 years? Have you bought any assets, a rental property, or anything? They looking at you crazy. But that's the only way you get off that kind of hamster wheel. Like when we talk about the rat race, most people don't think they're in the rat race because they don't feel pain at their job. They're not in pain. They're not in enough pain. Like their job gets on their nerves, but they're not in pain. They got a place to live. They got a car. They got food in their belly. So they're not in pain. When people are in pain, then all of a sudden, yeah, we got to change something. This ain't working. So if you've been for 10 years making 60K a year, you had 600K. You're sending your kids on the school bus, going to school. You've been able to afford stuff. And this last 2 years been tough. If I asked you over the 10 years what you've been doing, what you've been investing in, and you looking at me crazy, I already know. You didn't plan. You didn't know in your 40s, 50s, and 60s you weren't supposed to still be doing this. You weren't supposed to still be working this hard. You're supposed to be managing things. You're supposed to have stuff to sell. Like, do y'all understand why the group home and the elderly homes and the living assistants make so much money? Because there's a component of it where they have to help you figure out how to sell these assets, or they put a lien on these assets. Never mind. Let me get out of there. I love how real your streams are. It's why I subscribed and became a member. You tell it how it is and give practical excuses to fix bad situations. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. I mean, at the end of the day, hey man, hey, thank y'all for watching. I know it's going long. Let me wrap this up. Demo turn. There is another content creator who used to use that word, and it's a good word. So I did take it. When he want to come back out, he'll be out here. Crabs in a barrel. They don't want to just listen. He's a whole crackhead at this point. Yikes. I hope not. You may be telling the truth. I don't know. See, look, here's another one. It's probably the same guy because his name was Bunny something. Bunny Man. This is Bunny Man again. You're grifting because you're telling people and you're consulting and you're referring people to opportunities. You're grifting and I'm mad because I don't have the skills or the charisma or the attention. No one's watching me. I'm on here with a faceless, weird name so I can say you're grifting. Do y'all see how pathetic this is? This is the community. This is the community. These are the same people that do not go to Graham Stephan with this. They don't go to the countless white people who are out here consulting, who are referring, who are suggesting you go over here. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Oh, they always turn. Let me see here. Daycare for second, third. Woo. 24-hour daycare. Yeah, I've seen those too. I mean, it's crazy. What's the best way to start being a person who can make 40K a month? Evan, ooh, that's a whole nother show. Evan, that's a whole nother show. Okay, Evan, the best way, I'm gonna just tell you, the best way is to get some certifications, get the highest paying job you can get. And over the course of that year, you should be, honestly, like I've spent I spent close to 200,000, a little bit more than that, in training, workshops, masterminds, also that I could, oh, wow, that's all I needed. Oh, this is the 2 steps you got to take. Oh, this is how SBA loans work. This is how these investments work. And then every month at the highest pay you can be, let's say you get to a job and you're making 8K a month, you got to be able to take 1,000 off the table every month and put it into account for 1 year. By the end of the year, you should have something you want to do, whether it's land flipping, whether it's a cheap rental in the Midwest somewhere, or you buy a piece of land off a tax lien. There's a million ways to get there, but guess what? You determine whether it's a 2-year window, 5-year window, or 10-year window. You could just literally make a lot of income in the job you're in and put that money off. Now, next level, if you take that 1,000 off from that 8 every month, and let's say you get up to 12 grand is in your bank account, you don't have to liquidate those stocks. You can actually take a loan against those stocks, depending on your bank. Again, it's not financial advice. This is just my opinion. You can take a loan out against those stocks and for 100% of what the stock value are, and they will put that 12 grand in your account. Then you can take that 12 grand and close on what? A house, a duplex, a townhouse, a new construction. Then you can do what? You can rent out the rooms. You can rent out the whole place after a year. Right? Right? Then 2 years later, buy some more. I mean, it gets real simple. It just depends on the math on how you want to get there. Because some people are like, get credit cards and max your credit cards out. No. I tell you, the better is for you to put it in an NVIDIA stock or put it in an ETF that makes sense for a year. Come to your bank, depending on which bank. If you're in my Wealth Wednesdays or in my wealth classes, we talk about multiple banks every year that give you 100% loan against your stocks. Stock secured line of credit. Go look it up. You don't have to take my word. Look it up. All right. So that's a whole video. And because you said that, I'm gonna write it off to the side. But if you look back at some of the previous videos where I show the whiteboard of truth and justice, we've gone over this like a million times. See if I have it in here. Yeah, right about here. Here we go. I'm gonna show you this and I'm gonna get out of here because it's going long. I appreciate y'all who let me run in the background while you're working. If you look in the back here, we went over this before. Make it bigger. If you only got 50K or less, cheap rentals, auctions, land deeds, that's where you at. Right there, that bottom part. This is where you are at. That's your focus. Now, if you got a lump sum, 50K to 150K, I'm talking about 1 to 3 duplexes in Indiana, Cleveland, somewhere cheap. That's going to give you a return, and this is just approximate, not guaranteed. Okay, $1,500 a month per duplex, because I tell people only duplexes times 3. That's $4,500 a month. That's actually $54,000 a year. Now you're gonna say, Erica, what about insurance? What about this? What about that? I get it. I know. You have expenses. That's the point. You're just managing the gap. Okay? You're managing the gap. All right. So with that money, either you got a couple choices. You could pay down the house sum, the rental sum. You can take that money and again buy some more duplexes, or you could take that money because you got 3 of them and cross collateralize it to some new construction and build something new. I ain't gonna take it too deep, but again, you can get here, right? And from here, you can decide. Even if you get here the 3 duplexes, you're like, man, that's enough money for me to have some breathing room, go on some trips, or decide some other stuff. You can literally take that money, put it into stock market. You could take that money and put it in various places, because your only goal is eventually to become hard money lender or private lender, which again, there's this American Association of Private Lenders. That's a whole nother conversation. I'm not ready for it. But eventually what happens is you just decide, okay, well, I got 3 duplexes in the Midwest. I'm tired of the Midwest. Now I want to go somewhere else. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you buy 3 $300,000 houses in Texas, you're talking about you're at $1 million. You're talking about your books and your balance books, you had $1 million. Now you can say, well, how do you get the 3 houses? We can do a whole conversation on that. But at the end of the day, it really is a asset game, right? You weren't meant to stay in one job forever for 20 years. Some of y'all may live 40 more years. You're going to switch careers at least 2 more times, right? That's why I can laugh, right? Because again, when people lack confidence in themselves, they attack you to try to bring your confidence down. Good luck on that. Again, making money is grifting. I know these people crazy. These are the same people that will gladly super chat for every day of their life into the mode one people, the goofy people, the women's content. But if you ask them to actually, hey, what's your 401k account? Where do you buy your stocks? Do you own a house or at your mama house? Do you have land in your name? Do you have any of these things? They don't have any of it. But you could literally get here to the 3 duplexes and do nothing else. Now, if you know, hey, for certain, I need to get to 40K a month, then we start getting creative. You could build 1 or 2 houses a year. 1 or 2 of those houses sell. You're talking about what? 150,000 to 300,000 a year income you just brought in. Now, if you want on steady, then you take that money and you go put it in buy somebody's small business, or you buy a small service business, because it can run without you. As long as the leads are coming in, the Google ads, the spend. It is what it is. Look, I'm gonna get out of here. Let me see what y'all had in here. Do I know any mediators that run their own practice? Not off the top of my head. If I wanted to use my VA loan with a friend who rehabs houses, where's the best state to do it? Ooh, Justin, you're gonna have to find a mortgage broker, right? Because you're talking about a VA construction loan, the VA construction loan. Because if I were you, I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't even waste my VA construction loan on rehabbing one house. I'd go get a fourplex, or I could build one. If you get the VA loan that does the construction, you could build a 4-unit. That's still residential for your VA loan. That's what 2 students I had did in Georgetown, Texas. They built 4-unit in Georgetown, but he wanted to be in Germany with his baby mama and his child. I get that. So he just went on, he built it up and rented out the other 3, and he's over there with his baby mama in Germany with his VA loan. And then you'd have 3 rentals. That's why when people talk about the VA loan, 94% of people ain't even used their VA loan in the past 5 years. The government tracks this stuff. They know y'all not going to do it. They know. How to contact me, you can go admin@classicclimb.com, or you can book a call. It's the best way, the easiest way. Here you go. And I'm going to get on out of here. But that's what I'm telling y'all. Like, when y'all be telling me y'all have VA loan and y'all using them, I'm like, good luck on that. The drone website, it was called drone.io. It's like droneo.io or something to that effect. Let me wrap this up. It's like drone.io. No. Let me see. Drone. Is it Droneo or is it drone? See if it's in here. Hold on a second, y'all. Let me see if I see it. It is called. Dang, I don't see it. I don't see the one I know for certain. I'll put it in the community wall later tonight. But there is another company called Alpha Drone USA. They hire too. Who is that? Okay. Anyway. So anyway. No, you actually can build it with your VA loan. You don't need like you literally, they give you the draws from your VA loan. Again, I'm not a mortgage broker. I can't give you mortgage broker advice. Contact a mortgage broker that specializes in VA construction loans, and because they exist. I just know they do a lot of inspections when it comes to those stuff. So, but good luck to you. Wish you the best. If you want to contact me, Justin, you can contact me at admin@classicclimbts.com. Staff's probably going to refer you to book a call, but that is what it is. We've done this for years. This ain't nothing new to me. Y'all have a great day. It's an hour and 28 minutes. Woo! Didn't mean to go that long, but oh well. All right, guys. This is your girl Erica from the Classic Climb blog. You guys have a great day, and just remember, women's. And if you're out here making money and living a good life, even if you're delivering pizzas in the hot Texas sun and 100-degree sun and working at apartments and make 120K a year, it's hard to make 100K. It's a magical thing that no one can do. It's just magic. I don't even know why they tell people they make that. Very much so, Anthony. I mean, there's a million ways to level it up, but you know, you just can't make it out here. You just can't. You're just gonna be homeless and poor. Y'all have a great day. This is your girl Erica, Classic Clown Blog. Later.
You've probably been seeing these commercials for Middleman to Millions course. What is Middleman to Millions? We're teaching so many people how to have service businesses. The upcoming year, one of the fastest growing businesses you will see are service businesses and digital businesses. Why is that? Because so many things need repairs, need maintenance, and guess what? We have a shortage of men and also women who could do things. Listen, I'm not the best with a hammer, but I know I can gather a crew of people to get things done. And that's what I've done with 2 of my service businesses. And that's what I'll be teaching if you check us out in the Middleman to Millions course. And look forward to us on the road with Digital Liberty Tour 2024. It's Erica Williams.